If you're in a season of transition or trying to make sense of what God may be doing in you to prepare you for something new and different, this video is for you. And I want to share with you the path of transition to help you better understand this season of your life and what phase of this season that you may be in. Before we dive into that, though, I want to first share some indicators that you may be entering or already in a time or season of transition. And the first is that it's just you have this unsettledness, like there is this looming or pending sense that you're moving towards something different. Maybe there's a change, something has happened, and these things can trigger transition. Maybe there's been a disruption, something that was unexpected, but it has disrupted life as you knew it. Or even disagreements. Disagreements can be used or even trigger these seasons of transition. So if you're experiencing this, don't be alarmed. And there are a couple other things that you need to be aware of. One is, as you're in this transition, more than likely, you are going to be misunderstood. And second, and hopefully more encouraging, you are hearing God more than you realize. Hey, if this is resonating so far with you, write in the comments, this is hitting home. Because something that we need to be aware of is that the Lord's way as we're navigating these seasons often is obscurity. You know, a transition is the in-between time of life as you knew it and something completely different. And what if during this time of transition, God is desiring to prepare you for something different? You know, in Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1, it says that there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. I want to help you understand what season you may be in and what this season may be about for you. So in this season of transition, you are moving from one place to the other. And I think that the path or the way that we navigate this is best represented in a 2x2. Because in one very real sense, you are moving from what has been familiar, or in other words, the past, to something new and different that will become the present. But there's also this other dynamic that is at play where you are asking questions in hopes of gaining clarity. And each quadrant of this 2x2 represents significant phases of transition. And I want to show you how you can better understand and navigate through this time with more grace and even a bit more assurity and confidence to help put your heart and mind at ease, and so that you know that you're not the only one and you're not alone. And so where everyone enters is in this quadrant represented by the word why. And so as you enter into the transition, I want to encourage you to focus on being rather than doing. And for some of us, settling into this idea can be quite challenging. And you also want to pay attention to your pace. This is going to be a time where you slow down. You know, I grew up water skiing and wakeboarding. And if you've ever done this, then you understand that the key to staying on top is you have to be moving at a fast enough pace. You have to have speed. And if you slow down too much, then you will begin to sink. And for many of us, moving and keeping things at a certain speed helps us to feel safe and keeps us from having to confront or address things that may be below the surface. But in this phase of transition, you have to slow down so that you can sink just enough, not to drown, but to begin identifying and addressing things that may be below the surface. And it's within this phase that you're going to be asking a lot of questions. Why am I here? How did I get here? You know, God, who do you want me to become? You could be processing woundedness. There may be statements that have been made towards you that have affected you that you'll be reminded of or need to confront and address. As you're asking these questions, you want to begin identifying truths that can anchor your heart and mind to God's word and his promises. Because there are things that God has planted in you that you just do not quite see clearly yet. let's actually try to do this. If you could write or say it in one sentence, how did you get here? What has brought you to this place of transition? And while we're here, if you need help with this season of your life, I want to invite you into a community that I host where you can receive coaching and support alongside others. If you'd like to learn more about this community, please write the word transitions in the comments so that I can be sure to get you the information that you need. Okay, so as you're asking these questions and processing things related to the past, eventually you begin to make peace with where you are. Even though things still may be a little unclear, you're okay. And something that is going to occur that you may not have seen coming is that you are going to begin to be more comfortable with abandoning the identity that you have adopted up to this point in your life. You know, for me, it was titles, it was roles, it was things like leadership or pastor. And you actually begin to be comfortable with abandoning those titles and those things that brought a sense of identity to you. And you begin to become more intrigued with becoming the person that God already knows you to be. And in this place of peace, you begin to recollect the skills, the experience, the talent, the contributions that you have to offer, and the things that you bring to the table. And you even begin to make some decisions about things that are meaningful to you, the values that you want to carry forward, the type of person, the type of leader that you want to be. And actually, what just needs to happen is that your outer life and the words or language that you're using just needs to catch up with what you've already decided inside your heart. I want to take us to a passage in Joshua chapter 1. It says, "After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun, get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land I am about to give to them, to the Israelites. I will give you every place where you set your foot, as I promised Moses." So two specific phrases that I want you to pay attention to. Get ready and about to. Keep in mind, Joshua was leading a group of people that were in a place of in between. I mean, they were in significant transition and a lengthy one at that. They were no longer in Egypt, the place of captivity, but they were not yet in Canaan, the promised land. They were still in between. As you may be aware, God was using this time to develop things within this group of people. And God will do the same thing within you and I. He will use these times of in between to prepare us for greater purpose and greater impact. This phase of transition is also about character formation. Let me ask you a question. Is there anything that would change in your life or leadership right now if you began to view this in-between time as space separating the place God has delivered you from and the place God is developing you for? You know, God never wastes anything. He doesn't waste his word and he doesn't waste his promises. And he's also known for using bad things for the good. And so therefore, I believe that staying in this place of in between is never God's complete and final plan for us. And so as you're identifying these values, your character is building, you're beginning to recollect the things that you could contribute, you begin to have some certainty about ideas and ways that you could move towards the future. And really, this phase is about evaluating things that you could do and things that you should do. Big difference. You know, things are surfacing. You're beginning to pinpoint. You're getting ideas that seem to make sense. But as certain as you begin to feel about some things, you will then begin to feel a measure of uncertainty. And this is completely normal and completely okay. This phase of the path is about exploration. You know, you're trying things, you're testing things, you're seeing how ideas feel and fit, but you're also still asking some questions. you'll actually go back and forth this time of certainty and uncertainty, certainty, uncertainty, and this is completely normal. You're still asking questions, and one to consider is, how could God use this time of in between to sharpen, refocus, or even redirect your life and leadership? Okay, so I want to go back and revisit Joshua after God instructs him to get ready for what he is about to do. God then puts things into perspective for Joshua. In verse 6, he says, "Be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their ancestors to give them." Do you see that? Are you picking up on this perspective shift? That the promised land was not just about the people who were about to enter into it. It was for others too. What is God leading you toward? What is God doing within you? What is He developing in you that others will benefit from as well? Because whatever God is doing within you, wherever He is leading you towards, it is for someone else too. Do you believe that? This section of transition, this phase of exploration, is about getting a vision for how your transition is just as much for others and about others as it is for you. And so here are some additional questions to help you explore and make sense of this phase. Consider what the next chapter might look like based on what God is doing within you. As you listen to yourself describe what the future could look like, what do you hear yourself saying? If you could describe in one sentence what you want to do, what is it? As you are exploring and evaluating, the purpose of this transition begins to become more clear. You begin to see how and why this season is so valuable. And it's in this time that you begin to make decisions that are faith decisions. And it's these faith decisions that have been shaped and formed through the process of transition that bring your present into a place of flourishing. So one last time, let's go back to Joshua, verse 10. So Joshua ordered the officers of the people, "Go through the camp and tell the people, get your provisions ready. 3 days from now, you will cross the Jordan here to go in and take possession of the land the Lord your God is giving you for your own." Movement requires decisions. And the faith decisions Joshua made determined the promises that he would experience. Joshua decided to partner with God. Joshua willingly allowed God to use the time in between the past and the promise. Will you? Will you allow God to use this season, this transition? Hey, let me encourage you. God is with you. You're not alone. You're not the only one. I hear lots of stories, even in this exact moment, how many followers of Christ are in a season of transition. You're either going to hold on to old ways, or you're going to engage in the journey towards something new and different. New work always starts with interruption. What disruption in your life could be the start of something new, different, and better? Hey, if this video helped you, write the word seasons in the comments. And I have lots of other videos that I think could help you. So if you'd like, watch this next one too.